So for these Rice Krispie Nutella Marshmallow squares, you're going to need 60 grams of unsalted butter, 240 grams of mini marshmallows, 200 grams of Nutella or Nutella equivalents, this is from Aldi, and 185 grams of Rice Krispies, again these are just Aldi equivalent. And they're going into the main squares, and then you're going to need another 200 grams of Nutella, and that's quite handy because that jar is 400 grams, and 200 grams of white chocolate, and I'm just using some white chocolate chips. So we can get started, and first of all I've just lined a 9-inch square, what do they call this, a brownie tray with some greaseproof paper, and if you just scrunch it up in your hand, it just makes it easier to get it into the tin. So let's get started. In my large non-stick pan, I've got the 60 grams of unsalted butter and the 240 grams of mini marshmallows, although I ran out of mini marshmallows, so there are some marshmallow snowmen in there. And I'm just going to heat this up very, very gently until it's all melted together. Just keep stirring it very gently over the heat until it's all melted. Obviously don't stick your fingers in because with it being melted sugar, it's going to be really hot. So this doesn't take very long at all, but you just don't want to rush it because you don't want to end up with it burnt on the bottom of your pan. And obviously my snowmen are going to take a little bit longer than the mini marshmallows. Okay, I think we're all about there, so it's nice and melted. So to this I'm going to add my 200 grams of Nutella and just melt that in. Because the mixture's super hot, that won't take long at all. And what I'll do now is I'll just turn the heat off and just let the heat in the marshmallows in the pan melt the Nutella. Okay, and once all that's melted, I'm going to add my 185 grams of Rice Krispies. This is when I normally find out I haven't used a big enough pan. And we're just going to literally stir these together. Obviously if it cools down too much, you can just put a little bit of heat back through it to remelt it, and then it'll be a bit easier to stir. Okay, and when you have made sure that everything's coated, we're going to transfer that to our lined brownie tin. So just unceremoniously tip it in, make sure you get everything in. Obviously try not to eat everything. Maybe easier said than done. And then just pat it into the corners of your tray. Accidentally leaving some on the spatula that you can nibble on, and then when it's not too hot you can just gently with clean hands press it into the tray. Like so, and we're just going to leave that to cool for a bit, and then while that's cooling I'm going to melt the 200 grams of the rest of the Nutella and the 200 grams of the white chocolate in separate bowls. Then we're going to put that on top and swirl it round. So while that's cooling, I'm going to very, very carefully melt the 200 grams of Nutella and the 200 grams of white chocolate chips in the microwave. Now some people say don't melt it in the microwave, but you can do, you just have to do it very, very gently and not really stick it on and walk off. So I've now melted my white chocolate and my Nutella, and I'm going to unceremoniously put blobs all over it and then swirl it round to make it look artistic. And just do random blobs. And obviously if you prefer milk chocolate or dark chocolate, I guess that would work just as well. But I love white chocolate, so. And once you've got as much as you can out of the bowl, just so really the topping is coating the whole tray. But obviously you don't want to swirl it too much because you don't want it just to all be a shade of brown. So I think that's looking rather good. So I'm just going to leave that to one side while I tidy up and just let the chocolate set, and then we're going to cut it into squares.